Like a lawnmower that turns on unexpectedly, Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville just appeared out of nowhere, and now it's out. The game is here, we're playing it. I'm in, you can buy it now if you want. The full thing comes out on October 18th, but they've got this early Founders Edition for $30 now, and they'll be rolling out the modes as they perfect them and balance them over the next 6 weeks. But the game is here. We can see exactly what Garden Warfare 3 has become. Because trust me, this is Garden Warfare in every way except the name. But if you've paid attention to today's trailer, or some gameplay you may have seen, or even the website itself, you've probably noticed that something major is missing from this game. Something that was a humongous part of Garden Warfare 1 and Garden Warfare 2, and now has just vanished. Poof, gone out of thin air, and replaced with something very different. So today we're talking about what the biggest missing piece from Battle for Neighborville is, and why I think they decided to take out that piece. Let's all say it in unison. There are no longer character variants. They are all gone. So if you are a fan of the Law Pea, of the Alien Flower, of the Plasma Pea, of the freaking Vampire Flower, of the Future Cactus, of the Park Ranger, of the Roadie Z, of Captain Squawk, Electro Brains, Dr. Toxic, Goalie Star, they're all gone. You like that Yeti Chomper? Well, he's not here. Thanks to EA for sending over the code so I could get this going, check out the game, and bring you all the important details. They have replaced all of the variants with a new perk system and with more characters. And only time will tell if this was the right move. I'm super curious to see what you all think about this and how the greater PVZ community reacts over time, and even how I react after playing hours and hours of this game. So definitely let me know in the comments down below what your early take is on the removal of character variants and what they've replaced it with. We're going to go through it all and kind of dissect this decision together. Hit that like button if you are excited for PVZ Garden Warfare 3 BFN right now, because it's here, and that is awesome. And I think the game is fantastic thus far. It is beautiful. They've redone the graphics. The engine looks spiffy as heck. There's a lot of content, even in the Founders Edition. And once they have everything ready to go, all the ducks in a row, all the stuffies, I'm looking at you, all the stuffies in a row for launch, it's going to be a pretty big game. But character variants aren't there. And it kind of stinks, to be honest, to not have all of those varieties that we used to love. And it also kind of stinks to not have card packs. Card packs have been replaced by Mr. Rewardatron 9000, which I'll show you what it does. You roll over here. There's no, buying a specific card pack to try to get a sticker, because there's no stickers, because there's no variants. You just spend 30,000 coins on a capsule, and it will have something random. It drops in, oh, it's potted protection for my acorn, a rare little piece. And that's it. That's what you got going on. But that's not really all that important in terms of the overall game and gameplay. What's more important is the characters. Now, by removing variants, they have, in effect, allowed the game to increase its roster substantially. We went from these guys here, these 7, to 3 more to round it out to 10. So we now have 10 plants with the introduction of Acorn and Oak, with the introduction of our boy Snapdragon, and with the introduction of Nightcap. Now, on the zombie side of things, they took the initial 7 and brought in 80s Action Hero, Electric Slide, and Space Cadet Zombie. So I don't think with variants it would have been possible to increase the roster in this capacity. I really don't. So if you were left between the complexity of variants and a more limited roster, or adding new characters, what would you have done? What would you have done? Because having 20 unique classes, plus each of them having their own variants, probably overdoes it. It probably adds too much complexity to a game that, let's face it, is targeting a younger audience. And there are plenty of us in our 20s and 30s and probably 40s, 50s, 60s that enjoy the game thoroughly. But remember that for EA, this is a game that does target a younger demographic than something like Battlefront or Battlefield. So having 20 characters, each with 4, 5, 6, 7 variants, now you're talking an insane amount, and everything is so different. And at that point, it begins to dilute itself because there's just too much. Now, I'm going to give you both sides of the equation here, because the other side is, no, it made Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare so special and so fun by allowing for so much flexibility by allowing you to have your own variety and seeing so many different types of pea shooters, types of chompers, types of kernel corns, types of sunflowers, types of soldiers and super brains and all-stars on the battlefield. But they have decided to take that out, and they've replaced it with this upgrade system. So let's look at Citron and see what they've done. The perk customization system is what will now allow you to define a specific variant without it being called a variant. So basically, a lot of the different talents, or perks, if you will, that made the Toxic Chomper, or the freaking Cricket Star, the Cricket Star, are here as part of perks, with one exception. There is no longer elemental attacks. I guess that they probably felt with all the new characters and all the elements, it just was going to get too crazy. So instead, they have refined it down to things like, hey, faster refresh time for all abilities by earning a critical vanquish, faster health regeneration, reduce incoming damage, spawns more health after multiple vanquishes, faster revive. Now, obviously not every variant is covered by these perks, but this is the idea that you will build out your own variant, and then you will use customization, right? You'll go in here and use your customization to make that character unique. So you'll find they have added a lot more full-on costumes. That's going to be a bigger part of the puzzle, and I'm sure there'll be lots of ways to earn them, and I'm sure there'll be lots of different cool looks. And already, if you dive into the PvE areas, there are very special costumes that can be earned in special areas, and all of it's within the game. It's not like they're asking for money. It's all within the game, and you can earn those spending like tacos and different kinds of currency. So then you will have your own custom Snapdragon based on the upgrades you select. It's a 7-point system here, so we could say, hey, gain health when we're at low health and get a vanquish. Maybe we want faster refresh when we get a critical vanquish, and maybe we want to be extra fast except when sprinting. And that is the Snapdragon I want. So now maybe I decide to call this guy the Firefighter Snapdragon because he is donning the firefighter costume, and I have laid him out with low life, critical blow, and speedy. Now there are also multiple loadouts for you to basically make 3 variants per character. And I know it's not the same. Trust me. I was such a massive freaking fan of the card pack system. That is one of my favorite parts of Garden Warfare. To me, Garden Warfare is Plants vs. Zombies and card packs. I'm a huge card game player. I was when I was a kid playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic and Pokemon and freaking DBZ. And now even as an adult, like, I love games with card mechanics. Slay the Spire, SteamWorld Quest. They're my favorites. Some of my favorite games. And so to see that removed is a bummer, even though there wasn't a game mechanic to it. Just opening card packs in general, it's an exciting feel. And it was cool to get the variants and be surprised by who you got. Now it's up front. Now it's like, hey, you can define your variant and make them right off the bat. But there also is a little bit of work to do if you want to make the best variant, or at least a variant that maybe fits you. So you'll see that there are other perks later on that have different abilities than the early perks. And they also affect your character's abilities as well. That's what these little badges indicate, which helps, you further distinguish your custom-made variant that you define for battle with everyone else and their variants. Now, it's totally possible to just leave this pretty generic, but you would be, I think, silly if you didn't spend some time in the perks, because it's little things, it's little percentages, but it definitely is going to affect and improve your play if you have a good assortment of 7 upgrade points being used. Now, I have yet to unlock all of these. You need to be upgraded to Master, Super Elite, Elite, but it sure looks like they are going to modify the abilities, which will bring you that variety that you seek. So if you think that Vampiric and Leveling Up and Speedy and Critical Blow and Combo aren't that great, and then you go over here and you're like, oh, I'm looking at the freaking pea shooter and I have basically the same ones, that's not all that grand. Well, then when you get a bunch of XP, you will be able to make further modifications that help separate your specific loadout even more than the rest. Now, again, it is TBD if this is the best way to go. It is TBD if this is the right choice. It is TBD if it will make a better game this way. There are now 20 classes, which is so many. And they've done multiple things to really try and, I think, change the way we view the characters. Outside of removing the variants, outside of removing the sticker packs and adding these upgrade perks, they now have them separated into attack, defend, and support. So they clearly are kind of molding the game in a slightly different direction. And if there's any reason for it to be called Battle for Neighborville, I believe this might be it. Obviously, maybe GW3 isn't what they wanted to call a game that has, existed for more than a generation. And maybe they, just wanted a fresh start as they redid the engine, added new characters, and kind of tried to redefine what the PvE experience would be like. I mean, it is a much bigger, bolder game in just about every sense, and at a cheaper price, which is hard to complain about. You could say that they have removed variants, and that, stinks, and so there's less here, but they've also added characters and the ability to craft your own variants. Now, it's not as nice as having a preset Ice Pea or Goldie Star or Frost Rose, but you can, without the elements, make your own. And I feel like the elements will be a major sticking point for a lot of players. They will say that variants, okay, they're not here, we can make our own with abilities, and we can customize our actual character abilities, which is awesome, and I think will add a lot of depth, a lot of variety, and a lot of yet-to-be-told pairings that make for characters that maybe we in the community come up with our own nicknames for, our own unique little twists that we define as our variants. But I do feel like the removal of elements will bother people maybe the most, because it was super fun to see that kind of stuff take shape, and it was super fun to have everybody getting frozen and fired and toxified. It's not really there, and I don't think it's going to be easy to replace. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I currently like what they have established. I very much miss the sticker packs. And over time, maybe I will be bummed, and maybe I won't find the variety. But right now, leveling up the characters, hunting for those better perks, and seeing what they reveal, and seeing what kind of flexibility I have within each character class is exciting and interesting. And I love that they did really boost out the roster to 20. To me, that's a big deal. And if you were going to make a brand new Garden Warfare 3 / Battle for Neighborville game and not really have many new characters, that would have sucked far worse. I mean, you could argue that maybe they should have gotten rid of a bunch of characters, kept the smaller roster size, and just brought in new guys as replacements, but that would not have gone over well either. Having to remove certain characters, who would they have removed? Who would they have gotten rid of? People would have been pissed off. So addition is the way to go, and they did that with the roster. They just removed the variants and replaced it with a perk upgrade system that looks to have depth, but only time will tell. I'm going to be playing a bunch of the game. If nothing else, it is charming as heck, it controls good, it is fun. I've been diving into the PvE, the single player. I cannot wait to get into multiplayer. The characters look awesome. They have unique sprint animations now, which are probably my favorite part of the game. But I think this variant thing is going to be an interesting one, and I'm curious how it plays out. So give me your take in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you're excited to see this game out today. It's just here. I think there are so many crazy things this generation. Nintendo partnering with Microsoft, freaking Apex Legends dropping out of nowhere and amassing millions of players. Battle for Neighborville, a retail game, just, hey, it's revealed and it's out. That will go down as one of the crazy sauce examples of how this generation was just a boatload of fun, chaos, and kookiness for video gamers everywhere. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Drink some hot chocolate. Cannot wait to play a bunch of this and find out what all is in store. I'm sure there's more for us to uncover, and we'll do that together. Until then, though, thanks again. I love you. We'll see you all later.